welcome back to week 3 of our Financial Literacy Month. Once again, we are joined by Matthew Gunter, Managing Associate at Financial Growth Partners. So thanks again for joining us and helping us learn all about financial literacy.
No
it's
problem.
a big issue these days.
It is.
So today we are talking about protecting our cash flow.
Yep.
So how do we make sure our financial plan works in all different conditions out there?
Sure. Yeah. So in our previous topics, conversations, we spoke about having a great savings plan, being able to set money aside. We also spoke about, if we set enough money aside and we can start to allocate money to a debt strategy, what does that look like? How can we do that? But to make sure that both of those plans work, we need cash flow to continue to be active.
Absolutely.
Right? So we have to think about, okay, what could potentially stop cash flow, and how can we prevent any threats to our financial plan? Quite frankly, this is usually a topic that's not the most fun, but I've found that if I don't bring it up to clients or to people in general, that they usually don't hear about it. So there's a couple things that you can do to make sure that you're on top of some of your protection. The first thing is simply, looking at your property and casualty insurance and owning an umbrella policy. So I'm not a property and casualty professional, but I would recommend that you have someone to lean on. A simple umbrella policy can help save you in a lawsuit. People are pretty sue happy sometimes, and in the entirety of a financial plan, we don't want to grow wealth for somebody else. Imagine you're 65 and you saved your few $1 million or $1 million, and you get sued for some reason for $1 million at 65. That's a problem.
Yes.
It's quite a setback.
So I'm going to back you up a second,
Sure.
just because sometimes our viewers don't understand some of our lingo.
Sure.
So property and casualty, so that's an insurance agent that can help you with your home and auto.
Correct.
Typically.
Yep.
And a lot of people think of home insurance as just like, okay, my house caught on fire and now I need to replace it, right?
Right.
But it also covers things like you have a friend over and they fall and get hurt, or the dog bites them.
Yep.
It covers acts of God, so wind and if a tree falls on your house, that kind of thing.
Right.
It typically doesn't cover things like, I don't want to say rain, but any type of natural water coming,
right.
Like there's a flood or something, you need flood insurance. So there's definitely, you need to talk to an insurance agent to get exactly what's covered with your policies and what's not. And an umbrella policy
Yep.
is in addition to that. So it goes over
Overarching.
over multiple things. So they could sue you for getting bit by the dog, but maybe your policy doesn't cover enough. Then your umbrella policy is going to step in and help out.
Yep.
to make that person whole.
Yep.
Is that it?
Yep. Correct. Yeah, it's a pretty simple add-on. It's not going to cost an incredible amount. They're pretty affordable, but that's something I definitely recommend reaching out to a property and casualty professional. And if you guys have questions about that, we can always refer you to one.
Absolutely. So another thing would be like reviewing wills, because like you said, it's a topic that people don't like to talk about because nobody wants to talk about dying,
right,
and what happens. But I'm sure you have some examples of stories with clients. Can I say that?
Yeah. So from my experience, one of the things I'm asking most clients when I sit with them is, hey, when was the last time you reviewed your will? Has it been in the last 5 years? A lot of times the answer is no. But the question you need to ask yourself is, if something were to happen to you today, will that document perform the way you want it to? Will your assets flow to the ones that you want to have your money? But also, when was the last time that you looked at beneficiaries of your retirement accounts, of your insurance policies?
Your children.
Right.
That's a huge one. Because a lot of people do it as soon as they get married, but then they have kids and they forget to update their will.
Right.
And who do you want to raise your child? Because if you're not talking about this stuff, it's like the state typically that steps in and decides.
They do. Yep. They step in and they appoint someone to divvy up your stuff. So a lot of times when I'm speaking with clients, I'm recommending, hey, would you like to decide where your wealth goes, or would you like the state to decide? And a lot of times I think most clients can choose for themselves for the most part.
Yeah, and in some cases, if there's a lot of assets involved, it might make sense for you to get a trust. So that's where talking to an attorney that handles that kind of information would do your will, and they could also do a trust for you.
Correct.
Which helps with tax benefits, I believe. So that's definitely something. And if somebody needs a referral to one of those people, we can definitely help you out with that.
For sure. Yep.
Go ahead.
The last two, many people get work benefits. You get retirement benefits, you get other insurances like disability, life insurance. Oftentimes those are also products or tools that should be reviewed yearly. Usually work will give you some sort of disability policy, but you can also go out on the market and find a supplemental disability policy. Rule of thumb is work usually provides you about 60% of your income if you become disabled. And so the problem is going back to the savings, going back to retirement savings, and just having money in the bank account. If our income goes from 100% to 60%, it's going to be hard to start saving money and being able to one day not work anymore, right? So I strongly recommend that you take a look at that. And the other one that's pretty common with work benefits is life insurance. That should be reviewed anytime you get a bonus, anytime you have a life event. Well, not really, but like a raise, you start a family, that should be reviewed. But because going back to the economics of a household or of your savings plan in general is you have, if you have a family, there's two people that are providing in that household, right? If your savings plan is based off of two people saving money, and we don't want to think about it, well, something were to happen to one of them, well, now we're down to one income and we're not saving as much money, and what we want to do is once again make that family whole, right?
Absolutely.
So being able to review those and understand what you have, I think that's important.
Yeah, and I think all four of these are great topics that, like you said, people don't want to actually talk about.
Right.
But it's something that's necessary, like you said, to protect your cash flow and protect your assets going forward.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you so much for coming in and giving us this education. I know I appreciate it. I'm sure our viewers did too.
Yeah.
And all of Matt's contact information as well as mine will be down below. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to any of us. If you need referrals to any of those people like attorneys or insurance agents, we can definitely help you out with that as well.
Sure.
So I'm Rebecca Foote from the Rebecca Foote Mortgage Team, and thanks for watching, and make sure you subscribe.